What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be going over Carmax's second quarter numbers. We're going to go over why Carmax is expecting to lose $75 million. We're going to take a deeper dive on what these numbers mean and what it actually is pointing to where the automotive market is actually going, because Carmax is a relatively very progressive automotive company, and they do a lot of things to kind of steer away from pitfalls. And if Carmax is struggling now, what does that mean for Carvana, Vroom, and some of these other manufacturers and automotive companies? So stay tuned to the end. It's very important. There's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff we're gonna discuss. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you squeeze the like button. Also, please subscribe. We post great stuff like this all the time. And if you have any questions or any comments, always put them in the comment section below. I try to answer as many as I can. Or if you have an opinion that's different from mine, or you'd like to share anything, I love to hear from you guys. So let's go ahead and get in the video. A lot of financial institutions are talking about Carmax. Now, Carmax is the largest used car retailer in the United States. They sell over 200,000 cars a year. Now, the second quarter numbers are extremely important because this is going to tell us where the used car market is going. And if a company like Carmax is struggling in this current climate and economy, what does that mean for somebody like Carvana and Vroom? So a lot of people don't know this, but Carmax actually makes money three different ways: from retail units, from financing, and wholesale. We're gonna go over numbers for all three. We're gonna go over Carmax's retail numbers, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about them and what they actually mean. So the retail unit sales are down by 6.4% so far. Gross profit per unit was $2,282, which was an increase of $97 per unit. That's on a total of 216,939 units. So what this means is we know that retail sales are down, and it's not because of supply. Carmax is running at 93% of what they normally are, so they have more than enough cars. If you drive by any Carmax and most dealerships, you will see they have a lot of cars. The reason why is because it's the softening of the market. Credit is getting harder to get. People are not getting qualified for much. And to be honest with you, a lot of the retail customers are flat out tired of these overinflated prices, overinflated costs, and they just don't want to do it. Plus, the fear of missing out, the FOMO, is gone. People know that the car market is softening, and they're waiting. They're being intelligent. They're holding off. So we're going to see sales declines like this pretty often. Some of the newer car manufacturers, I think it was Kia and Hyundai, we're talking about a 13 to 14% decrease just this year alone, and they're expecting it to get into the low 20s by December. So we want to keep track of these numbers and see how it's going. But Carmax, like I said, is the largest used car manufacturer. So if they're slowing down by 6.4%, it's going to be probably a lot bigger for companies like Carvana and Vroom. Now we're going to talk about finance, and I'm truly shocked this is not headline news. This is very important. If anything tells the way auto loans are trending on the down and basically reinforce what we talked about 9 months ago, this is definitely indicative of that. Carmax Auto Finance income has decreased by 8.6% to $182 million, driven by a $40 million year-over-year swing in provisions for loan losses. So what does this mean? Well, part of CECL is you're required to put X amount of dollars away for expected losses. All financial companies do this to offset their risk and offset their debt. It's part of a regulation that came out, I believe, in 2017 or 18 to help not get bailed out by other companies or the government. Now, this quarter's loan provision was $75.5 million compared to last year's $35 million. So that just shows you how far the delinquencies have gotten, how crazy it's been, how overinflated the numbers got, and how much they overlent on people's cars. They're expecting a $75 million loss. Hence, that's why I got the name for the title. Now, the reason why this is so important is because we talked about auto loan deficiencies in multiple videos, and people freaked out and they said it's not that bad, there's not that many repos, they don't see them at the auction. Every single financial institution, Google CECL, are talking about this. Massive banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Ally, everybody is extremely worried on the high risk and high rise of deficiencies. Deficiencies are currently right now at the same rates of 2008. It's hard to believe. Now, deficiencies mean you're late, or you're a few days late, you're back, whatever, 60 days, it does not mean that they're being repoed right now. So that just shows you that there's a lot more people that are not making their payments on time. And what happens is little by little, they're late, but then they get 60 days, 90 days, and then it goes out for repo. So everything is spelling repos in the upcoming future, which is going to basically soften the market even more and hopefully bring down prices. Let's go over the third way Carmax makes its money, and that's wholesaling cars. Now, a lot of people didn't know Carmax actually wholesales more cars than they actually retail. And back in the day, they actually made more money from wholesaling than they did retail, but not anymore. Let's look at the new numbers. Total wholesale units have decreased by 15%. Gross profit per unit of $881 is a decrease of $124 per unit. And they wholesaled about 322,543 units. Now, the reason why it's decreased, I believe, is because of people like Carvana, Vroom, and all these other clowns that are coming up. We Buy Cars, Come See Us, are massively overpaying on vehicles. Now, I see a total decrease of wholesale units, 15%. I don't see that as a bad thing when it comes to Carmax, because Carmax, like I said, is a little bit more forward thinking. I feel that they're not overpaying for cars. They're being more conservative, so therefore they're not losing as much money as somebody compared to like Carvana or Vroom, where they're just overpaying for ridiculous stuff. Now, they lost about $124 per unit. This just shows another thing of the market softening. And a lot of retail people and regular people and consumers don't know this. Every Carmax that you see usually has an auction house attached to it. And here in Vegas on Thursdays is Carmax Day. So we actually go down there and we check out the cars. Now, the reason why so many people love Carmax Auctions is because they are very transparent when it comes to their cars. Some of you guys may have good experiences. Some of you may have bad experiences. I'll go over the pros and cons of each. So when you buy a car from Carmax, Carmax will be like, hey, runs and drives, but transmission feels weird, or caution, transmission slipping. They will tell you what it is. And then if you get a car and let's say the transmission is bad, but they didn't say anything, a lot of times Carmax will buy it back from you, which is a very good thing. So a lot of dealers will go to Carmax, take bigger shots and bigger risks on cars because they know the Carmax will take it back if they have any major problem. So how does that help Carmax and how does that hurt dealers? Well, it helps Carmax because a lot of these dealers will overspend at some of these cars. They will buy and take bigger risks on these vehicles. And how does this actually hurt Carmax? Well, a lot of people will do that. They'll buy a car, try to retail it for a week or two, and if they can't flip it, wholesale, or do whatever, they'll take it back and say there's some sort of issue, keep pushing, and eventually sometimes Carmax will fold and take it back and just run it back through the lane. Now, a lot of people don't know this on the retail end, but Carmax is where a lot of the kicked out or burned dealers go to purchase cars. And this is why a lot of the prices are overinflated when it comes to Carmax cars. When you get what's called KO'd, which means you've either burned a bank, burned an auction house like Mannheim Adesa, you get put into this book called the KO book. And that means you are not allowed to shop at either Mannheim or Adesa. So the only place these dealers have left to go to buy cars is Carmax. And you may think that, well, there's probably not a lot of dealers that have burned other auction houses and burned banks. There are a lot. So we always make the jokes of the biggest buyers at Carmax are usually the people that got kicked out of all the other auctions, and Carmax is the last place they can purchase cars. Now, Carmax is starting to take more and more different floor plans or flooring lines or lines of credit for accepting of payments. When I used to buy there about 7-10 years ago, they didn't take that stuff. They wanted cash. So we got really good deals. But they got smart, saw what the other auction houses were doing, and they were financing 100% of what they were buying at the auction. Even if it was over retail, they would pass it on to the lines of credit or the flooring lines, and they would get stuff with these payments. So The fact that their their profit is down $124 per unit shows that there's less confidence in dealers, because this whole mystique of people saying, oh, cars are still overpriced, everything else, dealers will only sell the cars what they're into them for. So a lot of these guys are still over buried in these cars. So they refuse to take down the prices. But on the new cars they're purchasing, this is where you're going to see the price reductions. They're not paying as much for them. You can look at numbers like this. You can look at numbers like on Black Book Wholesale or MMR, which is on Manheim's website, Cox Automotive. You can see that it's trending downwards. So this number tells me that, one, like I said, Carmax is getting smarter. They're not buying as many units. They're wholesaling units. Yes, they're losing a little bit of money, but it's not that bad. Now, just imagine somebody like Carvana. Carvana overpaid massively, and they bought Adesa to run their crappy cars through. Every dealer knows when the car runs through the auction and it says Carvana, they're just going to keep lowballing it, because they know eventually they have to get rid of their units because they're not retailing enough. And we're going to be making a video about Carvana and Vroom here very shortly. I'm waiting for the numbers to come out for them. I guarantee you it's going to be absolutely horrendous. I'm not a financial advisor, but I am personally going to be shorting these people because I know it's going to spell doom for both of these people. I know both their stocks are in the mud anyways. I know how much lower it can go, but I'm sure it can go even lower. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot to me if you put something in the comment section below. What are your thoughts and opinions of the current market? What are your thoughts and opinions of CarMax? Are they doing good? Are they doing bad? What do you guys think Carvana's what's going to happen to Carvana and Vroom when their second quarter numbers come out? I believe it's going to be in the beginning of November, which once those come out, I'm going to make a really big video, and I'm going to get a lot of my financial buddies to get on the line with me so we can talk more about what this means and how their debt to Apollo is going to basically explode in their face, and how they're going to be facing bankruptcy. Because I've been saying it forever. I know a lot of people thought I was crazy about it 6 months to a year ago, but everything we talked about literally is coming to fruition, so I can't wait. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next video.